Yo, guys, I hope you're well. So, guys, I've just watched Keir Starmer and Donald Trump, with Donald Trump hosting Starmer at Turnberry. I think it's Turnberry, the Turnberry golf course. And a few things went through my mind. It was an interesting hour. And again, always interesting whenever Donald Trump speaks, because he covers so many topics and he answers so many questions. And I can't remember seeing a politician do this with such openness. Most politicians are closed, and most politicians want to shut down answers to questions. So when they're questioned, they do not like to give a proper and full answer, whereas Trump normally does. And not just does he give a normal and a full answer, he actually gives a lot more. And this is why the press absolutely love to interview Trump. They may not like him, but they know he is an interesting interview. And I'm just going to move away, but I'm segueing into something else. So in the early 90s, I used to watch an American shock jock, and his name was Howard Stern. And Howard Stern, you could say, was similar, the equivalent to Trump in his own field. Howard Stern had a lot of naysayers and a lot of detractors. And he also had a lot of fans. But Howard Stern would say all sorts of weird things, some things which I may not agree with, but he would say them. And the funny thing about Howard Stern is the people who did not like him, his detractors, would actually watch his show for a higher proportion of time than his actual fans. And I think the same thing is going on with Donald Trump. So, for instance, a fan of Stern, Trump, may watch half the show, half of an interview, etc., whereas a detractor will watch 3/4 or the whole show itself just to be outraged. But the thing I was watching again today was I was watching the body language, and I was watching Trump sitting alongside Starmer. And I remember seeing something very similar, and this was in pop music. Do you remember a few years ago, just as Robbie Williams was coming into himself, he did a show and he was standing next to, who's the Welsh guy? I've forgotten his name now. Tom Jones. Tom Jones, I think, is a fantastic artist, fantastic musical artist. But it was really weird because I had the same feeling when I saw Tom Jones standing with Robbie Williams as I saw today Donald Trump sitting alongside Keir Starmer. It was like man against boy, master with student. So Donald Trump is always at ease in front of the cameras. Keir Starmer is not. Donald Trump can speak eloquently in front of the cameras. Keir Starmer cannot. Donald Trump can answer questions no matter where they're coming from, left, right, and Chelsea. Keir Starmer cannot. And Donald Trump, you will very rarely see flustered in front of the cameras. Keir Starmer, you do. And today I saw very much the same thing, where Donald Trump was hosting Keir Starmer in, I'm sure it's Turnberry in Scotland, and he was asked a few questions. And what I really did like about Donald Trump was Donald Trump is a person who will definitely give you an answer, but not just an answer. He won't give you the answer that you may potentially want, but he'll give you an answer, but he will get his spin on that answer as well. And what I'm trying to say is that Donald Trump has said before he won the election in the States on November the 5th, he said that he was going to come through on areas such as immigration, such as the taxes, etc. And boy, is he coming through in this. And what I did like, though, was that Donald Trump, even though he's here in the United Kingdom, he was sticking up for his base and the people he represents, and he was sticking up for us people here in the UK, because he spoke up about immigration. And he said that if Europe and the UK doesn't deal with this immigration issue, it will bring them down. And he said that the person, he said that the party that will win the next election will do it once they've sorted out the areas of immigration, the areas of open borders, which are a huge issue. But then I heard Starmer say, oh, we're looking at immigration, it's our thing. No. the whole world has a problem with migration, illegal migration. It's not just in the UK. It's not just in Europe. You speak to countries and people from Africa. You speak to people and countries in Asia as well. It's not just a European thing. Although what's happened is it's become microcosm in Europe. And I blame, well, I know who to blame. I'm going to say it. I'm going to blame people like Barack Obama. I'm going to blame countries like Saudi Arabia, because these countries and these people, this president, should have absolutely opened their doors. Not the US, but Saudi Arabia and countries like that should have opened their doors to their own people. But it is what it is. So let's move on from there. But it was really interesting. I just wrote down a couple of things here. So Donald Trump was very clever because he pushed it back onto Starmer. So he talked about immigration. He talked about open borders. He talked about free speech. And then Keir Starmer, the temerity of the man, really? He said, oh, we have such a history of free speech here in the UK, and we're going to have free speech here in the UK forever. But Keir Starmer's doing his best to stop people from talking from their heart. He's opening up jails for people who use freedom of speech. He does not like freedom of speech. Sorry, I've got this written down. So, and also they talked about farmers, tax, energy. And a lot of these cases, Donald Trump was saying why some of these areas, say, for instance, on energy, windmills, wind power, etc., is not a great thing. And those are words and those are answers that potentially here in the UK, we don't like hearing it, but we should listen and we should hear it. Because there are a lot of people who actually agree with his words. What else did Trump talk about? Oh, what I did like was, sorry, I had to write this down. So he was asked about what did he think of Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London. And he wasn't asked about Sadiq Khan, but he was asked about an issue that brought Sadiq Khan's name into the equation, into the subject. And he said that he didn't like Sadiq Khan. He's not a nice person. He's a horrible person. But he did like Nigel Farage. Farage is a good person. And he kept saying that he liked Starmer. Has he been brainwashed? Really? Guys, we can't have it all. But it was a really interesting hour or so where Trump fielded questions on all sorts of subjects. And he answered them very, very well and eloquently. Whereas when I watch someone like Keir Starmer, I think Keir Starmer struggles badly. He struggles badly at communicating. He struggles badly at having empathy with the listener. He struggles badly at having empathy with the people in his own country. He really does. So he may say something and he actually believes what he says. But if he listens back to what he says, then it's not getting through to the people. It really isn't. So guys, just thought we should listen to that. And Trump said another good thing as well. He said that if you lower taxes, they will increase growth. So everything Donald Trump said was, in my eyes, a bit of a nudge to Keir Starmer. So he talked about taxes and growth. He talked about immigration, open borders. He talked about the mayor of London. Not a nice man at all. Not a nice man at all. So it'd be very interesting to see what Starmer does and how he comes back from this, because I think he was taking some mental notes as well. But I was also looking, because Starmer's looking at Trump, because Starmer, in his heart of hearts, wishes he could have that oratorial skill set, that skill set where he can reach out to his people and to the audience, the viewing audience, and he can just touch the heartstrings, but he can't. And he's trying to sell us something which is unsaleable. And he's doing it with his own awful brand of salesmanship. It's not going to work. You need to look at people like Donald Trump. You need to look at people like Howard Stern. How is it that these people can get people to watch, to listen, even if they don't like their message? That is where Keir Starmer falls flat on his face. And that is where Donald Trump is the numero uno. No one does it like Trump. No one. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I just thought I just need to get something off my chest a little bit just from watching that last hour or so from Turnberry. It was very interesting to see Donald Trump speak on so many different topics. He was asked question after question after question, and he answered them all. Whether you like the answer or not is irrelevant, but he did it to the fullest extent of his ability. Whereas Keir Starmer, when he's asked the question, will try and move the goalpost, and 90% of the time will not answer the question he was asked. So guys, make certain you look after yourselves, you look after each other, and I will see you at the next one.